It was the devil, man. That was the devil, man. Real, man. That nigga was the devil.
The story of rap's very first serial killer, who goes by King Von, is one of how far gangster rap can go if left untamed. It's always been a captivating subgenre within hip-hop, showcasing vivid tales of gang-affiliated rappers who bulldoze their way into the music industry. NWA, Tupac, Jay-Z, they all shared stories of street life and amassing wealth. Amidst this search for authenticity, the Chicago drill scene took center stage, characterized by artists like Keith, Reese, and Vaughn, who fearlessly depicted their experiences growing up in a dangerous block surrounded by violence, police pursuits, and disrespect for rivals. King Von's songs and statements imply his involvement in multiple killings, rumors suggesting he used his rap success to eliminate enemies. Official connections to several murders then beg the question, is Von the first serial killer in hip-hop history? Born on August 9, 1994 in Chicago, Illinois, Devon Bennett, also known by his stage name King Von, grew up in a neighborhood known as Kill Award. This area was predominantly affiliated with notorious Chicago gangs like the Gangster Disciples and the Black Pistons. Von's father, Walter E. Bennett, also known as Silk, was a well-known figure in the streets and had ties to the Black Disciples. Tragically, Von's father was shot and killed when Von was just 11 years old, leaving a profound impact on him. Coping with the loss, Von delved into gang activities from a young age, getting involved in local gang politics and acquiring guns by the time he reached high school. During his teenage years, Von resided in Parkway Gardens, a housing development associated with the Black Disciples street gang. Here, he crossed paths with influential individuals tied to the area's gang wars and music scene, including Boss Top, Chief Keef, and FBG Doug. Von attended Hyde Park Academy, where tensions with rival territories, such as the Gangster Disciples, escalated into violent encounters. Over time, Von became increasingly entangled in Chicago's street gang conflicts, even bringing guns to school and engaging in reckless behavior. He found himself in trouble with the law, spending significant periods behind bars for offenses like armed robbery. Von's life took a dark turn when he witnessed the death of a close friend, which he claims transformed him into a demon. These experiences shaped Von's persona and would eventually define his music career. In the crime-ridden neighborhoods of Southside Chicago, a disturbing cycle of violence persists. It's within this grim reality that the story of King Von, a young rapper and alleged serial killer, unfolds. Born and raised in this unforgiving environment, King Von grew up surrounded by death and destruction. However, the responsibility for the dire circumstances of places like O-Block cannot solely be placed on the gangsters and killers who inhabit them. The city and state politicians have failed to create the necessary economic conditions for young individuals to grow up safely, pushing them towards lives of crime and violence. King Von's involvement in the gang war between the Black Disciples and the Gangster Disciples unfolded while he was incarcerated. The murders of individuals like Tuka and Odie Perry fueled the ongoing cycle of violence in Chicago streets. Social media became a platform where King Von openly shared his activities, boasting about his willingness to commit crimes and seeking revenge for the death of his friends. The murder of King Doc, the shooting of Dirty Rel, and the killing of White White on King Von's 18th birthday all served as turning points in his descent into darkness. These events propelled him further into the realms of revenge and solidified his reputation as one of O-Block's most ruthless killers. Shortly upon being released from jail on October 13, 2012, Von tweeted his frustration at not having taken someone down for a while and hinted at his growing desire for violence. Later that day, he announced the cancellation of his rival's party and then requested someone to come pick him up. 30 minutes later, a tweet simply reading, "Ha," followed by 45 Glock me, appeared on his timeline. That very night, Modell McCambry, along with his cousin, walked down the street unaware that tragedy awaited him. A shooter approached and opened fire, leaving Modell dead and his cousin wounded. Shockingly, King Von was positively identified by a witness as the shooter, and T-Roy was allegedly present at the scene. However, no charges were ever filed in connection with the murder, leaving the case unsolved. Years later, police documents revealed that King Von was the prime suspect in that murder. Astonishingly, immediately after the killing, Von tweeted, "Who died?" further fueling suspicion. It is believed that the tweet came in just 17 minutes after Modell lost his life. Von continued to taunt his adversaries, making it clear that he derived satisfaction from taking lives. His callous disregard for the police, as well as the grief of the victims' loved ones, was evident in his tweets and interactions with other gang members on social media. Despite facing arrest for unlawful possession of a firearm and being questioned by the police, Von remained undeterred. He continued to build his reputation reputation as a killer through Twitter, even mocking his victims and reveling in their demise. In the world of Chicago gang history, there was a prominent figure known as Jakira Barnes, also called K.I., who gained legendary status among the gangster disciples. The media, such as the Chicago Sun-Times, described her as a prolific female assassin in the city's gang warfare. King Von, obsessed with K.I., engaged in extensive back and forth with her on Twitter, with unclear intentions of either dating or killing her. Their interactions began on September 25, 2012, when Vaughn claimed to have beaten up a girl on the train, and K.I. responded, mentioning her injuries, but remaining unbothered since her gun could take care of her enemies. The following day, K.I. hinted of possibly shooting at Vaughn or someone he knew. This exchange led to a series of tweets where they questioned each other's gangster credibility and exchanged threats. Their online exchanges continued, and Vaughn occasionally shouted out K.I.'s gang and questioned her absence when he visited her block. K.I. challenged Vaughn to come face her, while Vaughn expressed a strange mix of infatuation and intimidation towards her. Alleged private direct messages between them surfaced, where Vaughn expressed interest in hooking up, but K.I. rejected his advances. They discussed the possibility of their respective gangs plotting to kill each other, with Vaughn admitting that there were people looking to harm K.I. but acknowledging her toughness. Amid their online feud, Vaughn tweeted about K.I.'s appearance, and she retaliated by boasting about beating up someone from O-Block. Vaughn's sister even joined in the exchanges, claiming to have been present during one of these altercations. Vaughn playfully flirted with K.I., expressing his desire to marry her, while she mocked his feelings. The intensity of their interactions decreased in 2014, possibly due to Vaughn's attempt to minimize evidence connecting him to K.I.'s potential demise. On April 11, 2014, K.I. was fatally shot in Chicago's South Everhard Avenue. Witnesses reported a shooter who pursued her and another man, relentlessly firing at them, even taunting them as he shot. K.I. suffered 9 gunshot wounds, and she was declared dead a few hours later. Her tragic death was part of a series of shootings that occurred in Chicago within a short period, leaving 14 people wounded and 2 dead. Following K.I.'s murder, Vaughn publicly expressed his love for his gang, seemingly celebrating his achievements. He boasted about his body count and tweeted about the ongoing gang war. Vaughn's tweets conveyed a mix of pride, defiance, and a disregard for his enemies. Despite being questioned in connection with K.I.'s murder, Vaughn evaded formal charges, leveraging a loose alibi and alibi witness, as well as an interaction with his parole officer shortly before the murder. He celebrated his release, claiming victory in beating the case. In subsequent years, Vaughn referenced K.I.'s death in his music, boasting about killing her and described her as drop-dead gorgeous. The question of whether Vaughn was responsible for K.I.'s murder or if it was the work of another O-Block member like Big A, known as ASCII or Ask K.I., remained a subject to speculation. After being questioned about the K.I. and Modell and being released with no consequences, King Vaughn felt invisible. The month was May 2014, and Vaughn had seemingly a number of bodies untouched. He would frequently take to Twitter hinting at his actions in the streets, asking God for forgiveness for taking out his rivals, boasting about shooting first and asking questions later. He claimed to be in a different league when he came to slaughter and challenged others to catch up. Vaughn often tweeted about being armed and ready for his rivals, even claiming to drive through the areas while tweeting. He declared that he had an itchy trigger finger and warned his rivals not to come near him or they would be shot. Only 2 days later, on May 29, 2014, Vaughn found himself attempting to score again. He attended an afternoon party at 5722 South LaSalle Street, where he spotted 2 members of a rival gang. The mother of the person whose birthday party it was warned Vaughn not to start trouble in her house, and Vaughn agreed not to. However, Vaughn left the party, got a friend named Big Mike, and returned to the scene. They approached a group of 3 men outside the house and opened fire. 3 men were hit, and a 19-year-old named Malcolm Stuckey was killed, although allegedly he wasn't the intended target. The Chicago police responded to the shooting, and Vaughn's connection to the murder would take almost 2 months to be established. During this time, Vaughn continued to be active on Twitter, posting about his actions and claiming responsibility for the incidents. He tweeted about being on the block with his gun, killing his rivals, and the fact that he committed these acts while on parole. Vaughn's last tweet before his arrest on prom night in June 2014 was an ominous statement: "Loose screws get nailed." Vaughn remained in jail from June 2014 to December 2017, awaiting trial. During his time behind bars, he raised hell, engaging in fights and disturbances. He even helped start a fire on the wing and maintained a strong presence on Twitter through his family, who tweeted on his behalf. In jail, he acquired the nickname Grandson due to his resemblance and temperament to the Black Disciples founder David Barksdale, also known as King David. Despite spending years in jail, Vaughn eventually faced trial for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey. His co-defendant initially implicated himself himself involved in the crime but later backed out of a deal with prosecutors, leaving him with insufficient evidence against Vaughn. As a result, Vaughn was acquitted of all the charges due to a lack of evidence, while his co-defendant received a lengthy prison sentence. After his release, King Von returned to the streets of Chicago as a free man and embraced his reputation as a killer. He channeled his experiences into his music and became a prominent Chicago drill rapper known for his authenticity as a gangster. Von's name began to gain recognition locally and worldwide. A week after the release of his debut album, Welcome to O-Block, King Von's journey would abruptly come to an end. Amidst his success, tragedy struck, cutting short the promising trajectory of his career. On the night of October 5th, 2020, King Von had a performance at Atlanta's Club Opium. This place, he engaged with his entourage, enjoying the night and playing his concert. Little did he know that the good times were about to end abruptly. Instead of heading back to his Airbnb as initially thought, King Von made a last-minute detour to Monaco Hookah Lounge, where Quando Rondo happened to be with Von's manager. This sudden change surprised Von's security team. Arriving at the Monaco Hookah Lounge around 3:20 a.m. on November 6th, Von encountered Quando Rondo and immediately started assaulting him. In the chaos, Lil Tim, a close friend of Quando Rondo, opened fire and struck King Von multiple times. King Von was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries. The news of his death spread worldwide, eliciting a range of reactions. The aftermath to King Von's death saw a strong reaction from his supporters and rivals alike. Retaliatory acts, verbal sparring, and threats unfolded on social media, highlighting the ongoing tensions between different factions. King Von's legacy became a source of inspiration for some and a target for others.